So this is the proposal for Palomar, and it's really a couple of different things. As we said, we've got all the utilities underneath the sidewalk, so that leaves that what's now a decorative concrete strip with the tile and all the patterns in it for a landscape space. And what we really thought was that if you're trying to make this a pedestrian space, a space that people feel comfortable walking down, I don't feel that way now, even with the extra 5 feet of fancy paving there. Because you've got, like you were saying, 20,000 cars, I think an hour, not a day. But there's an incredible number of cars, and they're rushing right through there, and they're right next to you. So to make it feel comfortable, we want to get some separation between the people walking and the cars. And so that means that 5-foot space that has all the tile paving in it needs to turn into something else. And so we're using that as landscape space. And that's this space right here. That's our 5-foot space. There's our 5-foot sidewalk right next to it. And so what we're looking at adding in there is a combination of things. We wanted some trees to get some height and to help that scale. Jerry talked about sculptural element. That's what the poles are there. And then also there's a hedge right along the edge of the walk, and then some colorful flowers up against the curb. Some things that will bloom constantly. We've got allium bulbs and a whole bunch of other different things, so there's always some seasonal color that's happening there in a very straight line. And what we're trying to do here is that we took a look not only at this one block area, which, as Roberto was saying, is from frontage up to industrial, but the whole space all the way down to Broadway. And so if you're looking at that, what's sort of goes through your mind when you think of that space? Well, to me, it's like every big box store that there is in the U.S. has an outlet there, and they all have a sign that's about 30 feet up in the air, and it's red and yellow and all these colors, lots of traffic, just an awful lot of stuff going on. So what we felt would be best with this space was to try to do something that really sort of limits that view and can actually dominate that, if you will. And so what we're proposing is Italian cypress, which are the trees. So those are the very upright trees there. They're very narrow, very columnar. As you look down the road, they'll tend to make what looks to be almost like a solid wall.
A green wall.
A green wall. But then when you look sideways, they're spaced far apart, and you can see through to see the things along the sides very easily. And we wanted to do that because we want something that could actually be extended all the way up to Broadway in future projects. And then the tall poles there are 50-foot tall light poles with a blue light up on the top. And that's sort of the beginning slide, if you recall that one, and we'll get back to it. And that's what we're doing with that.
And this slide shows a little bit better indication of what it'll look like, so that the store owners still get their real estate. But it's just a system. It's just trying to green and soften the whole road that is so harsh. And the other thing we've got dealing with there are all the overheads. We've got the trolley lines, and we've got all kinds of electrical lines, and so there's a lot of confusion up there. So this is to soften and to green it up and to just visually give it a much better feel with that line of trees there.
And then with the lights, we wanted to make a gateway statement. And if you think about gateways in San Diego County, you think about like the Hillcrest sign or something like that. I think that's a traditional one that a lot of people think of. It's like a sign that goes over the middle of the road. There's one on 5th Avenue downtown now, and a lot of the neighborhoods throughout San Diego have those, where it says that you basically have arrived. Well, to do that here, when you have 7 lanes wide and you need to have that clearance for trucks and everything else, that kind of sign just gets way out of scale and way too big. And so we wanted to do that in a different way. Get something that was really memorable, really different, but really caught your eye.
The other thing, the only place we really had for that was down on the corner of Industrial and Palomar, and that's way too confusing down there. There is too much going on, and I don't want to, like you were saying earlier, I don't want to interrupt traffic. I don't want to make that visual. I want everything clean and to be able to move traffic through here, but I still want to soften the visuals. This just gives you a couple more ideas of what that looks like.
These are the different plant materials that we're using along Palomar. You can see over there on the right-hand side, those are the Italian cypress. Similar sort of spacing as to what we would be using. We're actually spreading them a little bit further apart than that even, but they're skyrocket kind of trees. If you've been in any of the old neighborhoods around Chula Vista.
Pardon me?
Most of them go about 50 feet. I know I'm knocking feet down.
Yeah. Wednesday, yeah, that's what I was just saying, you go in some of the older neighborhoods.
They're thick and high winds, because they don't root too deep.
And some of the older neighborhoods in Chula Vista would have those where they're 5 foot wide and 50 feet tall, and you walk up to them.
Yeah,
So
so they're not gonna have too much room in that general area.
Right, we have a 5 foot space, and that's one of the reasons that we didn't propose like a big shade tree. Because if we get a big shade tree in there, it's all out in the traffic and getting trimmed by the garbage trucks that go by. You know, where they're sort of cut square or whatever, and they end up being a problem. So we wanted something that would make that edge, but not really get out into traffic and be a problem in that way. The other things that we're looking at are the crepe myrtle, which is in the center on the bottom with the flower with the magenta flowers. Deciduous tree that's being used in the median islands, along with some palms, so that we're getting color in the medians. The allium, the ornamental onion, is the purple ball up above. That's a ball of flowers that's about this big that comes up every June. And those are in a straight line that go right down the middle of the, or right along both sides of the median island. And then other flowering plants that go along with that that are being used. Thank you.